Welcome to our first episode of The Warrior's Way. We're a podcast that is going to be representing and having on guests of nonprofits that work in our community, helping people that are struggling with drug rehabilitation and jail reentry. So people that have got themselves in a little bit of trouble and need some help. And so being our first episode, the first program we're going to be putting forward is called, what is the name of our program, Dave? It's Spiritual Warfare.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the Warrior's Way. I'm like, literally just said it.
Yeah, this is called the Warrior's Way, but our program is spiritualwarfareunit.com, of which we have a biblical life application class on there that you can go and take a look at. We're starting our podcast now. We're starting our YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook. We're all over the place. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be interviewing pastors and nonprofits and CEO and directors of the nonprofits to get their story of how they got into it, what thing happened in their life and drove them to wanting to help people. So again, the first one we're going to be talking about is ours Spiritual Warfare Unit, and my name is Isaac Walsh, and this is my buddy Dave Jackson. And how we doing, Dave?
Doing. I tell you what.
We're doing good. So what happened in my situation is I was in 2009, I was in a car accident with my family, and I got a brain injury that affects my vision and a number of other things. And so after being stuck in my house for 7 years, doctors and therapy and the cool glasses to avoid the migraines and the hats, wearing hats all the time, being in the house, they told me I'd never work again. I'd never drive again. They said, in fact, the doctor, I had the main number one doctor in the United States from the Kellogg Eye Institute tell me that I had no value to society. I'll never forget that statement. 33, no value to society. And what had transpired is I'd had this, it's called a realignment surgery, where they cut into your eye and they cut your muscle and then wake you up, adjust it, knock you back out. And I 0.5% chance of success. I did that 4 times trying to get better, couldn't do it. And so it causes, vertigo, vomiting, you can't go outside, you get sick constantly. And so they said I couldn't do anything. So it took 7 years, but after the car accident and the brain injury, my personality reset. And I was just mad and angry all the time. And so you have to go through like this, you have to go through going through a process where you're eliminating and you're going through the, what's it called when someone dies? What's that called?
Grieving.
Yeah, you actually got to grieve yourself, right? And I had to grieve the death of my old personality, which was super hard. And you go through the 5 steps, being angry, being mad, being, trying to make deals. And then after I got through that and I accepted, I decided to decide what I wanted to do. What is the thing that I wanted? And what I wanted most is I wanted to be wise. So I went into the Bible and I started researching. And I put a grand total of 4,000 hours of study into dissecting the book of Proverbs out by category. And I started to realize I could pick up patterns. And I found a pattern of sin nature. And I figured out through the Bible things that I struggled with. And I was like, man, I struggle with that. And I then used the Bible to figure it out. And so after 7-8 years, I started volunteering down at our local jail as a religious volunteer, which turned into a paid position. And when I got there was some management issues, and we had some people get fired, and I got hired on, and they had told me, same thing the doctors had told me, it's impossible, Isaac. You can't get this fixed. It's always been a problem. And we went to war, and we rooted them out, right? And we got it working, and then we got a new team in there, and it became a training center. So it went from one of the worst managed chaplaincies to a training center, right? And then I was getting bored, and for the last year, remember I was telling you, Dave, we were going in there, we're having a meeting, and should this be blue or should it be red? And I don't
Does this come in cornflower blue?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't ever remember when someone was starving if they liked the color of the, like, who gives a, who cares? And I was so bored. It was so boring. And so I'd ask God what direction to go. And we had started what was called a community care task force with the sheriff, where we were feeding people. And I got to know all of these different nonprofits, and they're awesome people. And all of them have gone through a difficult time, right? So I wanted to see what I could do to help them. And so the opportunity opened itself up. And working with UCAN, United Community Addiction Network, along with Spiritual Warfare Unit, we're putting together a group, and we're going to be interviewing these awesome people who help with diapers, help with food, help with kids, help with jobs, help with all kinds of stuff that people are struggling with. Nobody knows they're out there, right? So we're going to do a one-stop shop. You're going to meet these people. You're going to hear these awesome stories, how then they've been through something tough, and they took that negative, instead of making it the thing that beat them, it became the thing that drove them, right? And when that doctor told me I had no value, I was impossible to be effective. I refused to accept that, And so now all of these things exist, and we're gonna be able to get them out here so they can tell their story and what they do. And if you're struggling, or you have a family member that's struggling, and they need help, you'll be able to come to our website, click right on there, go down the struggling area, see which one, if they need housing, you can get Salvation Army or Life Challenge or New Paths, or if you need food, we can make a phone call to my buddy Jeff, and it's on there. And you need formula or baby clothes, you need counseling, we got people, and we're going to get this to you. It costs you nothing. These people are already doing this. And the whole focus is to let you know this exists so we can help you. So that's a little bit of story about me. But what was your starting story, Dave? What got you here?
So I was hanging out at my social club, and some guy came up to me and said,
Nice. Yeah, social club. Yeah, absolutely. I love our social club.
Oh, yeah.
We were hanging out. You said if I remember correct, you said you had to help me.
Well, that's just it. It's
well, what was I doing wrong there, Dave?
You're too blonde. No, you were up on stage and using a iPhone to record both the video and the audio of your program, and that hurt.
That hurt your soul.
That hurt me a little bit, yeah, because my background is I was in TV and doing videos and photos and all those kind of things. So I've got I'm used to a professional level. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're telling me you're using an iPhone.
Well, it's an i13 Pro.
Oh,
it's
well,
professional.
my so bad. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So, what made you do the God thing? You're in you do ministry work, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I do. It's just listening to your program. Because at first I was just helping my buddy out, trying to get get it on tape, as it were, and get it ready to be able to get it out there. As I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, this is making sense. This is the kind of thing that has to go out there. A lot of people would benefit from this kind of a program. So
yeah, because when you talk about spiritual warfare, people think about demons and dragons and things, and that kind of stuff. But really, each one of us, you strip away the flesh. We're just a soul, right? This is just a cup that's holding the soul. And so learning how to communicate. What I learned with my injuries, I didn't know how to communicate. But what I didn't know is most of us don't know how to communicate with each other. And so I found why I failed. I can prove it biblically. And then I can prove biblically why what God does fails. And I do it, and I know it works by doing it. And so I just show people that. And you've seen it, right? You've seen it work, and it blew your mind, which was humbling. And, we have a number of groups that are taking, the UCAN takes it as their faith-based rehabilitation. It's going to be debuting in the Lapeer County Jail with UCAN. Salvation Army's took it on as their Christian Living program. We got some great video that'll be coming up, and them sponsoring what we're doing, which is awesome. You got those clips right there?
Yeah, we'll throw those on there.
Yeah, so and these are our partners, and we're going to be interviewing these guys for free because I've worked with these people, and they literally are the ones that help the people on the grounds. So if your daughter is stuck, if your son is struggling and with drug addiction or went to jail because they did something, and they need a spot, and people are judging you. You know how it works, and they judge you to death, and you come in there and where do you sit and what do you do? And you can never find that information, right? This is what this is going to be. And when you meet some of these people, like one of the people we're going to have on in a couple of weeks is Reverend, or Father Thomas, and he runs the Deaf Church in downtown, and he is an excellent human being, right? And I can't wait for him to talk about. He was in China. And do you know that the sign language is different?
Makes sense. American Sign Language is what they use, ASL. So
yeah,
okay.
But do they? It's not to say it's like dialects or whatever.
Yeah.
Hand sign language is completely different. I didn't even think of it. Blew my mind. He's looking at taking our program too, and he's an excellent human being. I can't wait to get him on there. So if you have someone in your family that's dealing with someone that's deaf, and we're putting together a drug rehabilitation program, him and I, and we're working out on that, and work with Reformers Unanimous is another faith-based group. We work with Celebrate Recovery is another faith. We work with AA and NA. We got all the A's in there, and we're coming together to create a mesh between these groups, because they're so busy doing the work, they don't have time to market. Right? So we're doing this, putting together so we can market for free for them on the things that they're doing. And in return, we don't charge them anything. And I just want to get the stories of the people, because one of the things in life is bad things happen to us, right? And then one of two things happens. You're either a victim of that scenario or you're a survivor, right? And so when you're dealing with a family, a bad thing will happen, maybe a divorce or something. And one child will say, well, I can never get married because my parents got divorced and it was this horrible thing, and it stops them from their happiness. While another child will go through the exact same scenario, and they say, well, I know I can be married because I already went through a divorce with my parents, and I can see how it works. And so we have these people on that are survivors of their negative environment, because a question I get all the time is, well, how did you do it, Isaac? And the answer is one little decision at a time. And it sounds like a simple answer, but you're creating a habit of changing from one direction to another direction. And instead of looking at everything, like life's hard anyways, right?
Yeah.
So if life is hard anyways, why choose to fail? If I know having a temper doesn't work, why do I do it, right? If I know how many people like being yelled at, right? You like being yelled at, Dave? I don't like being yelled at. I don't like it when somebody's a know-it-all. I don't like it when somebody comes across and they have to be offended. Every time you turn around, they got to be offended about God knows what, about God knows who, because they say so, right? That drives me insane. And it's my choice. It's my choice to be offended or not be offended, right? And so I just teach people how to be able to do that. Because I've had a lot of people, you ever heard the old cliche, I just have a temper, you got to deal with it? That's not true. Do you know it's a choice? Like, I had a rage problem, and so I was angry to the point of I like to be violent, right? And I enjoyed fighting, and I've always been a fighter. But the problem was I was fighting in the wrong direction. And so I was more worried about beating my chest and telling people, look at me, when in actuality, if you look at the reason we're here, is God gave us purpose to show everybody else that he is real and he works. And so our spiritual warfare unit program is to prove, from a logical perspective, the choice mechanism process between sin nature and God's nature and the difference. And when you get in there, I'll actually have you prove to yourself that what you're doing doesn't work. And then you got to make a choice, right? And what do I always say? I say you're going to choose to win or you're going to choose to fail, but you're going to choose, right? And so we've been able to put that together. We've had a lot of support in the community, and I am absolutely looking forward to having Aaron Rubio on from UCAN. He's the CEO, excellent human being. And he's kind of the brain trust behind a lot of the programs we're putting together. And we have we're going to have Salvation Army on. I think we're going to have a guy from the Lions Club on. And so if you know anybody that is doing good work in the community and that you think we should have on, they have a great story, they've been through something really difficult, and they turn that negative into a positive, because there's a bunch of us and are out helping people. and we're trying to get there. You let us know. You email us at spiritualwarfareunit.com. We are going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back in just a couple minutes. I appreciate you stopping in.